This training session translates Cyber Resilience Act principles into a practical implementation roadmap for organizations. It explains why the annexes of the regulation are not supplementary material, but the operational backbone of CRA compliance, defining technical documentation requirements, conformity assessment procedures, and the structure of the EU Declaration of Conformity. The session introduces gap analysis as a key step to assess readiness, helping organizations identify missing elements early and avoid late-stage compliance risks. Finally, we explore different compliance pathways based on product risk, clarifying when self-assessment is possible and when third-party conformity assessment may be required on the path toward CE marking and market readiness.
So now that we have announced we are recording today's training session, especially for those who are registered but couldn't join us, we can safely start by saying a few words about us as trainers, as me as host of today's session, and of course with a few housekeeping rules and announcements. Also, it's good to consider them right up front. Speaking about presenting ourselves, my name is 𝗧𝗿𝗶H, and I'm part of the 𝗧𝗿𝗶H project team since its establishment. We will see a few more words written and presented in a couple of seconds concerning the project. But more importantly, we have experts nationally and internationally recognized as leading auditors in the field of cybersecurity, who will be leading the session in terms of subject matter expertise. 𝗧𝗿𝗶H, Dr. 𝗧𝗿𝗶, who is a leading auditor in numerous fields, especially in the context of the International Standardization Organization, and in the context of cybersecurity, the 27000 series, as well as 𝗧𝗿𝗶𝗶, who I would apologize if I don't know her academic titles, but she is known to me as a leading also expert auditor and consultant in cybersecurity compliance. So both of them are having this fourth and final training session with a diverse community of trainees. Every time we have new people coming, we have new registrations. We have some people registering every time but not attending, which is actually by design understandable, given the fact that we're sharing the recordings after every session and they're publicly available. The slot is not always the most convenient, but today we also have new registries. So for those who have not been joining the previous sessions, you will have a link to access the Google Drive repository, where you have the presentations available to you from the previous 3 months. We started in September, when we continued in October and November with topics which I would actually ask, if that's not previously announced as a request towards Miroslav, I would actually be asking him to share a few words about the topics we already covered, in the context, of course, of the fact that he would be providing more information on what topics will be covered today. So this is a good way to start, in a way complete this series of 4 training sessions, because our next monthly meeting, our next monthly hopefully joint activity with all the people joining us live or offline would be more practical, so would be more hands-on. Yes, we will be sharing more highlights and context around the Cyber Resilience Act, but we will be also looking into the platform and its functionality and what it offers in terms of cyber resilience compliance. You will see more on the process, how to leverage the platform to prove that you're compliant with the requirements associated to vulnerability tracking and reporting, to incident reporting and management. and you would be basically able to start registering your accounts for your companies and products on the go. While we're presenting this content, you will be helping us validating the usefulness of the platform. So this is going to be our key, I would say, focus in January, in February, March, and April. Now, I would like to just say a final opening remarks while sharing my screen. So I hope you're able to see it already. This is the platform at 𝗧𝗿𝗶H, and given the fact that we are speaking about the Cyber Resilience Act and its usefulness to small and medium enterprises across Europe, we need to highlight that the platform is publicly available and open to other companies as well, European or non-European, bigger, not qualifying as SMEs simply because the CRA does not make a distinction, and everyone who wants to sell on the European market a product with digital component will need to comply, of course, as long as it fits into some of the categories under the legislative act, for which we discussed previously a lot, and we will continue to remind about the different groups and how the companies can see where they fit, how they can assess this. What I want to highlight here is that in the event section, in the context of our training, of course, you will be able to see very soon the date for January, so do follow the developments here. For broader developments on the project, you will see in a second LinkedIn feed. Actually, I need to enable it due to a bit stricter browser restrictions, but in this feed you can see updates concerning 𝗧𝗿𝗶 and the platform development beyond the trainings that we are discussing today. Do follow, look into the page on LinkedIn, follow it, because everything that we share is concerning companies providing products with digital components within the context of the CRA, of course, and beyond it, as long as there is something important for us to share with you. The deliverables and the work packages I'm not going to speak about because these are internalities. What I want to highlight and close my opening words with is actually the group of people that gathered together to develop the 𝗧𝗿 tools for assessment of conformity, self-assessment. In support of conformity self-assessment, we are building this platform, but when we say we're not just me and Sasha and Miroslav. We represent one of the partners, which is the Digital European Innovation Hub Trakia, also known as Cyber for All Stars. But the coordinator of the activity is PMF Research out of Italy. We rely on the expert inputs from a research institution based in Poland with vast expertise in artificial intelligence and beyond. And from software perspective, yes, 𝗧𝗿 is an abbreviation that says basically Open Source Cyber Resilience Act tools, which tools you are going to leverage and learn how to leverage them during the workshops. But currently, we are building it as a closed source project. The moment we launch our beta version into production environment, we'll open up our repository and we'll spin off the project with the governance in the hands of the community. This is a well-known standard approach in the open source world for kicking off open source initiatives. Right now, we're trying to populate a few missing points or thoughts, however you like to call them, which are related to developing the community that will be maintaining this platform, the tools in the long run. So for this to happen, we firstly need to rely on internal software expertise, and we rely on OVS Enterprise and NRSEC. Both companies are leading in Romania Annexes is more specialized in GRC advisory services, while 𝗬𝗏 Enterprise is purely a technology company who is leading the efforts on developing the platform. I think that's about all on the 𝗬𝗏, but he kept the most, I would say, senior member of the consortium to end with, because the entire concept to have a tool or tools, if you consider the different modules as separate tools, that is in support of European companies to be compliant with the Cyber Resilience Act. The entire idea was of 𝗬𝗏, based operating out of Estonia. They have a broader GRC platform, governance, risk and compliance platform, which they envisioned to expand in the CRA direction, given the fact that the CRA is on top of everyone's attention now, as long as you are building, you are selling, or you're distributing products with digital component, and you know what is going to happen in 2027. If you're not compliant, you simply not be able to sell those on the European market. So they foresaw basically this development years ago, when the discussions were at early stage at the European institutions, and started organizing the effort around building this group of like-minded enthusiasts, then drafting the project under the Digital Europe program, who is financing the effort, so for which we are grateful, of course. And finally, orchestrating the entire work around the actual development of the platform and the future, which is the most exciting part, the future handover of the tools in the hands of the community to govern and expand them. I wanted to mention this to conclude with, simply because the platform, as you've seen the workshops, does not cover it all. So it's not one size fits all solution. We have requirements under the Cyber Resilience Act which would not actually be covered through the 𝗬𝗏 platform, which means that, for example, there are tools and solutions that might be of use and might be required for you to comply with the requirements under the CRA, which we would not be offering. But don't worry, we have foreseen this development in the beginning. So when we were drafting the project under the leadership of Unisys, we were aware that there would be 9 other, more or less, I would say less than 10, but 5 to 10 other projects who would also be developing their own tools that would be financed under the same Digital Europe code. And now we are partnering with them. These organizations and their projects and the tools they're building, we covered them broadly in previous trainings. So I would advise those that did not look into this matter to just access the recordings, but also the additional materials in the Google Drive repository, where you can see presentation with slides presenting the other tools that are being built in support of the CRA compliance for SMEs across Europe. Learn how they can add on top of the value that the 𝗬𝗏 platform would be basically providing, and if needed, we can be a bridge, we can be those to connect you with our partners, with our friends from the other projects, the respective consortiums, and basically guide you or walk you on a guided tour, starting with the steps you can undertake for compliance self-assessment under our platform, and then continuing in other tools that are part of the broader, I would say, CRA enablement community. I think this is a good way to conclude my short presentation. I walked you through our platform, I walked you through who we are and what we do, but also how we fit into the broader network. Now let's dive deeper, and with that I would actually stop sharing and give the opportunity to Miroslav and Sasha to continue. Let's dive deeper into the topics for today. with, of course, a kind reminder to Miroslav to say a few words about what we covered previous sessions. Miroslav, I hand over to you, and we take it from there.
Thank you, Christian, for your short introduction. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining today's session. My name is 𝗧𝗿𝗶혜𝗴, and together with my colleague 𝗧𝗿𝗶₃ we will be your presenters for this lecture. Today, we will speak about the Cyber Resilience Act, or CRA, and how organization can prepare for it in a practical and structured way. The CRA is a new European regulation that changes how digital products are designed, supported, and secured. Our goal is to give you clear guidance that you can start using immediately. You can see some information about my work and background on this slide. I'm involved in audit standards and cybersecurity projects, and I also teach topics like security management and zero trust architectures. Together with 𝗧𝗿𝗂, who also has deep experience in standards and security, we will guide you through today's practical session. Let's look at what we will cover. First, we will explain the new guidance from the European Commission. This guidance help organizations understand the Cyber Resilience Act requirements, the scope of digital products, and what secure by design means in practice. Then we will speak about certification and conformity assessment. Some products will need a notified body, while others can follow a self-assessment route. We will explain when each method applies and what evidence organization must prepare. Next, we move to the practical part. We will show how organization can start with a gap analysis, comparing current processes with CRR requirements, identify missing controls, and planning improvement. After that, we will introduce common criteria, CC, and the new European scheme, EUCC, European Union Common Criteria. We will explain how common criteria works, how EUCC is different, and why the European approach may be easier to apply when preparing for CRA. In the second practical part, we will look at how to build a compliance roadmap. A roadmap helps you structure your actions, updating policies, improving development processes, preparing documentation, and checking responsibilities. At the end of each session, we will have some time for your questions. You can write them in the chat window, and we will answer them either during the session or at the beginning of the next one. Some questions may require deeper research, and in these cases, we will provide answer later by email, for example. We also plan more interactive Q&A time in our upcoming workshops. We can start with the first topic for today. So I will start with the latest guidance from the European Commission on Cyber Resilience Act. The Commission published new information on 3rd of December 2025, and this update is very important for organizations that develop or sell digital products. During this talk, I will explain what is new, what you need to understand now, and how you can prepare for the next steps. My goal is to make the information clear and practical so you can use it in your daily work. In this session, we will focus on the key areas. First, we will look at the latest information from the Commission and what changes, changed in the update from 3rd of December 2025. Second, we will look at the 4 official pathways the Commission created for implementation. These pathways are for manufacturers, member states, small and medium enterprises, and the open source community. Third, we will talk about the role of standards. Standards are now the main road to compliance with the CRA. Finally, we will finish with practical steps that your organization can take in 2026, so you can be ready for the deadlines in 2027. Let's begin. The first big change is that the Commission now gives a clear and structured plan for implementation. Before, the CRA was mostly a legal framework. Now we see exactly how the European Union expects organizations to prepare. The Commission launched a new online portal for implementation. It has 4 entry points for manufacturers, member states, CMA, and the open source community. Second, a new implementing act was published on 1st of December 2025. This act gives technical description for important and critical products. This reduces uncertainty about these high-risk categories. Third, more updates are coming soon. A delegated acts is expected by the end of December 2025. Also, the first official guidance package from the Commission is expected in early 2026, which will help organizations understand how to meet the requirements. The Commission's new portal shows how different groups should prepare. The first door is for manufacturers. Here, the Commission gives guidance on documentation, risk management, monitoring, and reporting. The second door is for member states. Their responsibilities include market surveillance and working with the notified body and ENISA. The third door is for small, medium enterprises and startups. The Commission promises simple tools and special support to help smaller companies meet their requirements. The fourth door is for the open source community. The Commission explains the difference between non-commercial open source projects and commercial products that use open source components. These 4 doors show very clearly how the Commission thinks about the implementation process.
Miro, if you allow me to step in just for a second. Basically, this is of course a conceptual picture that you presented very well, but I would actually encourage, when we speak of actual web portals. I don't want to create I would say confusion for the attendees and those looking into the recording to also regularly check the actual portal of ENISA, as ENISA, the European Cybersecurity Agency, Information Security Agency, is publishing very regularly important updates on the CRA in the context of this portal framework. For example, the most recent one was published there and was shared actively on LinkedIn through our pages, but for those who did not see it, until December 19th, right now, we have an open announcement that ENISA is welcoming, inviting companies from across Europe to join an important survey on 𝗧𝗿𝗶ℴ, or software bills of materials, which means that ENISA need and want to learn more how currently companies are working software bills of materials to present the contents of the products with digital components. So based on these learnings, the agency can then further fine-tune through the implementing regulations, implementing acts of the CRA to be presented by the European Commission and the different standards that are currently being developed to fine-tune the offering associated with the requirement for products with digital components to actually have existing bills of materials. I just gave an example that this is an important announcement. Everyone can share best practices and expertise with 𝗧𝗿𝗶ℴ as we speak through an information, through a link provided by ENISA on their platform. I will share the link in the chat, and thank you for the opportunity to give this information provoked by the great slide that you presented previously.
Thank you, Christian, for this important information. I will continue with next slide, which explains the full journey of the manufacturer under the CRA. Before a product is on the market, the manufacturer must do a full risk assessment, apply essential cybersecurity requirements. They must prepare technical documentation and follow a conformity assessment procedure. When placing the product on the market, the manufacturer must add the CE marking, include a signed declaration of conformity, and provide clear instructions and information for users. They must also state the support period of the product. After the products on the market, the manufacturer must manage vulnerabilities for the entire support period and report exploited vulnerabilities and incidents to authorities. You can see that CRA covers the entire life cycle on the products. This roadmap show all the major deadlines until full application of the CRA in December 2027. Some key dates: December 2025, the implementing act is published. A delegated act is also expected. Early 2026, the first official guidance from the Commission will be released. 11th of June 2026, rules for a notified conformity assessment body come into force. 11th of September 2026, mandatory reporting of vulnerability begins. 11th of December 2026, there must be a sufficient number of notified body across Europe. 30th of October 2027, additional standards will be published. And finally, 11th of December 2027, the CRA becomes fully applicable in all European Union member states. This means that preparation in 2026 is very important.
And even now, Miru, even now in December 25th, colleagues on the call and seeing the recordings can engage because we already have in our repository in the useful resources section folder with draft standards. So these draft standards by 𝗧𝗿, produced by 𝗧𝗿, are available for people to have a look to see what would be the requirements, especially for manufacturers of routers and modems and switches, networking equipment, for password manager production companies, for operating systems, for network interfaces, for boot managers, for antivirus programs. These draft standards were published, made available in September this year. So even now you can engage with the 𝗧𝗿 community and even contribute where and when available. But start with the repo as a guiding point, and then if you have interest to contribute to the drafting of the actual standards, just let us know. Again, sorry for hopping in, but I think this is a nice way to add value.
So, one of the strongest messages from the Commission is that standards are now the main mechanism for compliance. If a product follows harmonized standards, it receives presumption of conformity with the CRA's essential requirements. This means that the product is considered compliant. These harmonized standards translate legal obligations into clear technical specification. The standards are created by European Standardization Organization, 𝗧𝗿, together with industry. The Commission also asks for balanced participation, including consumers and the open source community. For manufacturers, this means the Cyber Resilience Act is not just an abstract law. There will be real technical standards that guide your work. The standardization request M606 includes 41 standards that will support the Cyber Resilience Act. Some are horizontal standards. These give common processes for all products, for example, vulnerability management. Others are vertical standards. These apply to specific types of products, especially important and critical ones from Annex 3 and Annex 4. The European standardization body will also develop common terminology sector, risk methodologies, and common threat catalog. This gives manufacturer a clear structure they can use when integrating security into the product lifecycle. The Commission also explained how organizations can take part in developing the standards. The first platform is stands for SR, Cyber Resilience, where European standardization bodies publish information about the Cyber Resilience Act standards and their development. The second platform is cyberstandard.eu. Its purpose is to support European stakeholders and help them join standardization work. If your organization joins technical committees or national mirror committees, you can directly influence the requirements that you will later have to follow. The standards will shape your documentation, your vulnerability management, and your testing methods. Cyber Resilience Act has 3 product categories: default, important, critical. For default products, the manufacturer may use self-assessment. They take full responsibility. For important products, in Annex 3, a notified body must check the product unless the manufacturer uses fully harmonized standards. For critical products in Annex 4, a notified body must always be involved. These rules give more clarify on how the conformity process works. They also help manufacturers understand how much external testing is required. Starting on 11 of September 2026, manufacturers must report actively exploited vulnerabilities and serve and incidents. They must send an early warning within 24 hours after becoming aware of the issue. Within 72 hours, they must send a full notification. Within 40 days after fixing the issue, they must send a final report. The reporting will happen through the Cyber Resilience Act single reporting platform created by ENISA. The notification will go to the national CRIS, which will share it with ENISA and other CRISs. A delegated act will describe special cases when cyber CRIS and delay the information. This reporting requirements is one of the most important operational duties under the Cyber Resilience Act. Here is a simple roadmap for your organization in 2026. First step, classify your portfolio. Identify all products in the scope of the Cyber Resilience Act and determine if they are default, important, or critical. Step 2, do a gap analysis. Compare your development and vulnerability management practices with the new Cyber Resilience Act requirements. When new harmonized standards are published, map your processes to them. Next step 3, prepare your documentation. Update your technical descriptions, user manuals, and security information. Also prepare your vulnerability handling process for 24 hours reporting rule. And the next step 4, coordinate and monitor. Align CRA, work with other regulations like NIS2 and GDPR, follow the Commission's updates, and work on the standardization bodies. If you follow the steps in 2026, you will be in a strong position for 2027. To support the organization, the Commission provides official resources. The main CRA implementation portal includes links for manufacturers, small and medium enterprises, member states, and the open source community. The standardization hub gives details about request M606 and the development of harmonized standards. There is also an official FAQ that answers many common questions about scope, open source issues, and the relationship with other European Union laws. Finally, you can subscribe to the CRA community to receive email updates directly from the Commission. These tools help you stay informed and avoid surprises. To finish, here are the three main messages from the European Commission. First, the period of uncertainty is ending. The CRA now has a clear timeline and deadline guidance, and leading to full application in December 2027. Second, standards are not optional. They are the practical mechanisms for demonstrating compliance. Third, organizations that start early will have a much smoother experience. If you integrate the CRA requirements into your development, security, and governance processes now, you will avoid last-minute problems and high cost later. Now I will give the floor to my colleague 𝗧𝗿𝗶H, who will provide you with practical guidance on achieving compliance with these requirements. 𝗧𝗿, it's your floor.
Okay, thank you, Miron.
I'm stop sharing.
I hope you can see my presentation and
Yes,
you can
thank
hear
you.
me.
Yes, perfect, loud and clear.
So, and welcome from me, from everyone who are now with us. I will focus on how organization can practically prepare for the Cyber Resilience Act, not in theory, but in the real world. We will look at the two pillars on early readiness, conducting gap analysis, and building the internal policies.
And 𝗧𝗿, maybe we can give the opportunity for people to read through your presentation while I'm saying a few words on the previous slide here. Exactly. Thank you for going back. Today I made an effort to be compliant from branding perspective, simply because I recently had a panel discussion with the chairman of the European Cybersecurity Competence Center. The central headquarters of the Cybersecurity Competence Center are based in Bucharest, so I had the opportunity to attend a joint session with him. I just wanted to mention, and thank you for branding the presentation correctly, that the EU 𝗧𝗿𝗶 Center is an umbrella, and we have the national cybersecurity competence centers in every country across Europe. I'm mentioning this not only because I saw the logo and it reminded me to mention that our call through which the 𝗧𝗿 project is funded was managed by the 𝗧𝗿𝗶 Center, but also something very important, its website. It's a perfect also location to find the news concerning the CRA implementation and all things cybersecurity, because we will have a revision upcoming probably in the next 12 months on the European Cybersecurity Act, and we will have more to come from the implementation of the Network and Information Security Directive of second generation, so-called NIS2, and many other things which are relevant to the audience of our trainings in general, to the people who are interested in the CRA and the 𝗧𝗿 platform. So make sure not only the ENISA website, the Digital Europe platform, the dedicated page on the European Commission portal, but to also follow the 𝗧𝗿𝗶 developments. Sorry to interrupt, but a very important announcement I wanted to make, apart from also sharing the nice shirt that I have with me today.
Okay, I will continue with a few words about me. My name is 𝗧𝗿𝗶𝗶 and I'm a part of the European Digital Innovation Hub Trachea. I work as a cybersecurity expert, consultant, and trainer. I'm also part of the Women for Cyber, and it's my pleasure to guide you through this the practical steps that needed to build cyber resilience readiness. And in the first part, we'll look at two, as I mentioned, two essential building blocks, proper CRA gap analysis and internal policies you must have in place. I think these are the foundation for everything else you will need to implement. So the Cyber Resilience Act sets cybersecurity requirements at two levels. First is technical security controls include the product, and the second is organization behind it, or as in the language of ISO 27001, it's an organizational controls around all these activities like development, maintenance, documentation, and vulnerability handling. It also requires a strict risk assessment and instant reporting and full documentation for, as you can see, CE marking. A gap analysis is actually your reality check. It gives you clarity and shows what the CRA expects, what you already have, and what is missing. It also helps you avoid surprises later, especially during conformity assessment or before putting product on the EU market. So complete CRA gap analysis covers and was the 5 areas: product requirements, on the organizational processes, articles 13 and 14 readiness, and documentation for CE marking. And if any of these areas is incomplete, the organization cannot demonstrate conformity under the CRA. So here is an example, a product, an IoT environmental sensor that measures temperature, humidity, and air quality. And as you can see, sends data to a cloud platform. And this is a typical CRA scope product because it includes firmware, connectivity, and data handling, all of which must meet CRA requirements. And this is here we can see a table with this IoT environment sensor, common gaps, CRA references. We have requirements, current state. It's important for our gap, and what is exactly the gap. And of course, impact and priority. This is an example, but missing vulnerability scanning, insecure defaults, open debug ports, and weak encryptions actually are all violations of Annex 1, Part 1. This is a simplified example of what CRA gap might look like. A real gap actually may contain 60 or 100 and more rows. It's depending on the product complexity. But the idea is here to identify the requirements, to check what exists, to identify the gap, and assess the risk and define the corrective action. Here is another table. It's an organizational gaps. Again, we have CRA references, requirements, current state, what is the gaps and impact, and priority. And without secure development lifecycle or SDL or software bills of material, as mentioned about the survey of ENISA, also without coordinated vulnerability disclosure, logging and security updates process, the product simply, it's difficult cannot comply with the requirements. The internal processes, I think, this is where the most organizations discover the biggest workload. So the next table, Article 13, is the heart of CRA. It requires a cybersecurity risk assessment, defined support period, and a structured vulnerability handling process. And these are mandatory and must be documented clearly. So missing triage, SOA, for example, and documentation, that means the organization has no structured process to classify vulnerabilities, no deadlines for fixing, no records to prove what what actions were taken, and all of which are mandatory under the CRA. And Article 14 requires early warning, as in Miro mentioned, within 24 hours, and further reports within strict timelines. Organization must have workflows for detection, escalation, and communication, or otherwise they cannot meet the legal deadlines. And this is Annex 7, defines everything you must include in your technical documentation for CE marking. This is all often the most time-consuming part of CRA compliance, and because everything from design diagrams and to test results must be actually documented in a consistent way. To meet CRA obligations, organizations must formalize their internal processes into policies. This includes cybersecurity risk assessment, vulnerability handling process, coordinated vulnerability disclosure, secure development and secure lifecycle management, security update management, also monitoring and logging requirements. You can see and in accordance with which clauses and articles. incident notification procedure, and technical documentation management. Without written policies, compliance, it's difficult to demonstrate. So a few words about what they should actually contain. First of all, it's good policies to be short and clear and actionable, and also practical. And also, it's my advice to direct links with CRA obligations. They must describe methods, also responsibilities, risk assessment, for example, policy, method, scope, responsibilities, and support period determination. Vulnerability handling procedure must include identification, triage, remediation, communication, and evidence. And coordinated vulnerability disclosure, the CVD policy must describe public contact point, intake procedures, and response timelines. Also, secure development policy, conducting standards, reviews, testing, supply chain controls. Updated management policy must contain secure delivery, signing, rollback, update, logs, and also finally incident notification procedure. Usually policies turn regulatory obligation into daily operational routines. And finally, this is some list of gaps that appear in organizations of all sizes, from startups to manufacturers with millions of devices in the field. For example, no secure development lifecycle, no formal vulnerability handling workflow, no SBO or software bills of materials creation or maintenance, no documented risk assessment according to Article 13, or no public coordinated vulnerability disclosure channel, no internal capability to report exploited vulnerabilities within 24 hours, or missing technical documentation required for CE marking. So if your organizations recognize some of these, you're not alone. Most companies began their CRA journey in exactly they are in this situation. Finally, the next part, after a few minutes, I will turn the gap analysis into action, and you will see exactly how to structure a good CRA compliance roadmap that your team can execute. So this was from me, and thank you for your attention. And now we can move into the next session according to our program.
While Miro is turning on his, yes, we can hear you, Miro. I just wanted to highlight that there was yet another useful resource that you can follow for important cybersecurity developments, which is the Women for Cyber Foundation website. As 𝗧𝗿𝗶 outlined on her presentation, she's part of the Women for Cyber Foundation, the Bulgarian chapter, one of the co-founders. So make sure to follow W4C as well.
Yeah, thank you very much, Christian, for adding this about women in cyber and the foundation.
Thank you, 𝗧𝗿, for your explanation and deep understanding of the process for preparing and compliance with FHIR requirements. Now we will explore how trust is created in modern IT products. The ISO IEC 50408 series standards, also known as the common criteria, gives us a structured way to check if a product is designed and implemented structurally. The goal of this session is to show the participant how complex standards can be turned into a clear and logical model for evaluating security. I'm expert in the field of standardization, and in my work, I help organizations understand how security assurance works in practice. In recent years, Europe has increased its focus on standards, and institutions such as ENISA and 𝗧𝗿𝗶 are actively searching for more specialists who can work with these frameworks. This makes the topic very important for your future careers.
And in this context, Miro, I just want to mention that with this presentation, we move into the part of our monthly training where we present how the Cyber Resilience Act relates to, connects to, refers, or is in any other way impacted by the broader cybersecurity compliance framework. Now that we will be speaking with the European Union common criteria and the standard as a means to it, basically we will be sharing more light on how this framework is actually a way to potentially, of course, prove compliance in certain aspects, in certain contexts to the requirements under the Resilience Act. Previously, we spoke about, I think, the cloud services schema, and we will continue to actually have this section in our trainings and the workshops where we show you the broader picture. Having said that, I just want to mention that we already have two presentations of two materials, a presentation by EXO and the EUCC actually piece of legislation already in the repository. You will see also this presentation there. But keep in mind that with this segment, we try to broaden up your perspective, how the different bits and pieces are related to each other.
Yeah, thank you, Christian. The genesis of vulnerability is next slide. This slide explains where vulnerabilities come from. According to the graphic, weaknesses can appear at many stages: requirements, design, development, delivery, operation, and maintenance. The important idea is that vulnerabilities do not appear by accident. They appear when a process is unclear or incomplete. In the requirements are not defined well, developers may build the wrong functions. If the design is weak, the architecture will not define itself. During development, poor coding practices introduce risks. When the product is installed or configured incorrectly, new vulnerabilities appear. Even a correct system can become insecure during operation or maintenance if changes are not controlled. Common criteria assurance helps us understand each stage and prevent these weaknesses before attackers can exploit them. This slide shows how the common criteria evaluation works. It is based on active investigation by trained evaluators. The system divides requirements into 4 levels of structure: classes, families, components, and elements. A class is the broad category, such as development. Family groups related requirements. Components is the smallest selectable requirements. Elements explain what must be checked. ISO IC 50408 standard describes the what of assurance will, while ISO IC 80045 standard describes how the method used by evaluators. This structured approach ensures that evaluation is repeatable and reliable. It also helps developers present their product clearly so evaluators can understand how it works and how security is enforced. This slide divides assurance into 4 themes. The first theme is defining the blueprint. This includes protection profiles, PP configuration, and security targets, which describe the security problem and the required objectives. The second theme is building with integrity. This includes the development evidence, user guidance, and lifecycle support. Here we prove that the product was created using secure and repeatable processes. The third theme is proving resilience. This includes test and vulnerability assessment, where experts try to confirm correct behavior and search for weaknesses. The final theme is assembling with confidence. This relates to composed products, where components that were previously evaluated are combined. Together, these themes form a full picture of trustworthiness. So this slide explains the first major step, defining the scope of security. Protection profiles describe security needs for a type of product. PP configuration, protection profile, allow the combination of modules. The security target gives the exact requirements and claims for the specific products begin evaluated. Now, the key message on the slide states that the security target is the ultimate blueprint for evaluation. This is the central document that evaluators follow. Without a clear and eternally consistent security target, it's impossible to perform a good evaluation. This first step is essential because every later activity depends on understanding the security problem in the same way. This slide focuses on the development and life cycle aspects of assurance. The ALC class looks at configuration management, delivery procedures, and flow remediation. Developers must control changes and protect design items from unauthorized access. The ADV class describes how security functions are designed and implemented. The AGD class gives the guidance that help users operate the product security. The message at the bottom of the slide highlights that trust is stronger when the TOE security requirements match the actual design and when the developer produces evidence regularly. This shows the importance of discipline and documentation in secure development. Here we see the detailed structure of development evidence. It includes the security architecture, functional specification, TOE design, and implementation representation. The security architecture describes important properties such as self-protection, domain separation, and non-bypassability. The functional specification describes what the TOE interfaces do. The TOE design explains how subsystems interact. The implementation is the final source code or hardware design. The structure helps evaluators follow a logical path from the high level of security functions down to the lowest representation. It also protects against tampering of hidden modifications. This slide presents the supporting evidence for the build phase. The lifecycle support class includes configuration management, secure delivery, and flow remediation. This ensures that the product is created, stored, and delivered securely. The guidance documents explain how to install and operate the products correctly. Incorrect use can easily lead to an insecure system, so clear instructions are part of security assurance. These controls guarantee that the product secure state is not lost during updates, maintenance, or distribution to customers. A secure design and build process is essential, but not enough. We also need implement verification. The slide shows two questions. Does it do what the blueprint says? And can its defenses be breached? Verification checks conformance to the specification. Validation, in other hands, checks resistance to attacks. The combination of both creates strong evidence that the product behaves correctly under real-world conditions. This part of the assurance gives users confidence that the product is not only correct in design, but also strong in practice. If I present more detail, verification ATE test confirmed that the functions behave as described. Evaluators also check test coverage and depth. They may repeat developer tests and perform their own tests. Validation in AVA includes structured search for vulnerabilities. Evaluators study public information, analyze the product, and test possible attack paths. The attack potential metric from ISO IC 18045 standard is used to judge how difficult an attack would be. Higher level require more advanced expertise, tools, and time. This ensures that the evaluation is realistic and aligned with the current threat levels. When combining multiple certified components, it's not efficient to reevaluate each one from the beginning. The ACO class gives methods to evaluate composed products. The slide uses a castle analogy. A new system is built from base and depends components. The question is how to trust the schemes between components. The assurance method checks that the integration is secure and that new vulnerabilities are not introduced. This approach supports modular design and reuse of evaluated parts. This slide breaks the ACO process into several steps. First, the evaluator verify what services the base component provides. Then the developer provides evidence about how those services are used. The consumption explain why the combination is secure. Testing and vulnerability analysis confirm that the components interact correctly and that the integration does not create weaknesses. This process is important to a modern system where many parts are built by different vendors. In this way, we can see the full evaluation flow. First, evaluators receive all evidence, security target, design documents, guidance, and lifecycle information. Next, they perform sub-activities according to ISO IC 8045 standard, checking each requirement through specific work unit. Then evaluators assign verdicts. Pass, fail, or another. Requirements passes only when all evidence is coherent and meets the expectations. Finally, evaluators produce the evaluation technical report, which is the formal basis for certification. Because the method is strict and repeatable, the results are trusted internationally. In this way, I summarize the structured argument for trust. A product can be considered secure when 4 conditions are met. The security problem is clearly defined. The product is built with integrity. It is tested for resilience. And if it uses components, their integration is assured. I want to highlight again that I'm an expert in standardization, and this structured discipline is the heart of modern European security policy. Organizations such as ENISA and ETSI are actively looking for new specialists who can apply their standards. This final slide presents the main standards and the common criteria recognition arrangement. Both standards, 50401-3, defines the assurance components. ISO/IEC 80045 explain how evaluations are performed. The CCRA allows certificates from one member country to be recognized by others which support international trust. Understanding the structure of classes, families, components, and elements help professionals use the standards correctly. The list of authorizing members shows that many national security agencies participate in this system. This concludes the presentation. I hope the structured view of assurance help you better understanding how trust in IT products is engineered, tested, and verified. Now I will give the floor to my colleague 𝗧𝗿𝗶, who will present a practical structured roadmap for achieving full compliance with the Cyber Resilience Act.
And Miro, if you can just wait a second on this website, it would be very useful to make a remark in conclusion to what you said. Yeah. Basically, the ISO 15408 is the rule book how to specify and evaluate security, and in an ICT product, or these days we call it product with digital element in the context of CRA. I don't say there is overlap between these two different definitions, but in the ISO context is defined as ICT products. Now,
right, yeah.
if this is the rule book, basically the European Union incarnation of the common criteria or implementation or scheme, this is the scheme that uses the rule book and defines how certificates are issued, maintained, and they're recognized across the Union. So to bring the global developments into our own backyard, we need not only to recognize and know and be aware of the ISO 15408, but also be aware that this then gets basically used as a rule book into the legal environment within the Union, which is organized and arranged under the EUCC scheme that is part of the European Cybersecurity Act certification framework. Now, the EUCC, while we are speaking actually about it and the underlying standard behind it, is not, I would say, legally required. So you don't need to have a certification under, doesn't matter under EUCC or another scheme under the Cybersecurity Act and the related certification framework. But something very important, in certain aspects, you can use the EUCC certificate as a, let's say, shortcut towards the CRA. It is an evidence that can cover specific annex requirements. The requirements under CRA are maintained in Annex 1. So by having this certificate, by undergoing the certification process, you can, there is a term that I previously used, have a presumption of conformity under specific cases. And when a product holds an EU statement of conformity or certificate under such a scheme, it can benefit from this presumption of conformity with certain CRA essential requirements outlined in Annex 1, to the extent that the certificate covered those requirements. And if broader conformity is required, and you need to basically be able to prove, to showcase, and as Miroslav mentioned, to convince the auditors that you're compliant. Then, of course, you need to be very well aware that the UCC does not cover it all. It's not a one-size-fits-all solution. But yes, it can absolutely be used as a strong conformity pathway for relevant product scope, not merely as a reasonable proof. This is something I wanted to highlight because I don't want you to have a wrong impression that this is the path towards conformity. Is one of the potential, one of useful paths towards conformity, and is one that in certain, of course, product groups and contexts has been for many, many years. I don't remember if Miro mentioned, but it's the general, the worldwide common criteria is with us as a framework for decades, more than my professional life experience, so work experience, sorry. So it is something that has been tested throughout the years, and it lays on very strong foundations set by the ISO with its fundamental works that were presented by Miroslav. So I think this was a useful addition. I don't know if you agree with me, but good to make this disclaimer towards the audience. Sashka, you can continue safely from here on. Thank you.
Thank you. I didn't turn. So just to share that. Yeah. So when we know what the Cyber Resilience Act requires and how to identify gaps, we move to the part turning all this into a roadmap. And this roadmap is, how to say, is a bridge between analysis and real compliance, a practical plan that the organization can follow step by step. A good roadmap must close the identified gaps, establish the required processes, and prepare the organization for the CE marking. It connects CRA obligations to your people, your processes, your products, and also your timeline. Most importantly, it needs to integrate CRA obligations into the product life cycles, so that compliance becomes continuous, not one-time exercise. This is 6 pillars. Processes, policies, technical controls, and documentation, also people and ongoing monitoring. This represents the full spectrum of CRA requirements. And if even one pillar is weak, the entire compliance structure becomes unsuitable. So the roadmap needs to address all of them, and the pillars must also work together. To make CRA implementation manageable, we structured the roadmap into 3 phases. The first one builds the foundation. It's your policies, rules, and documentation structure. And then phase 2 integrates these processes into daily work. And phase 3 focuses on evidence, also audits and preparing for the CE marking. This phased approach keeps the project realistic and achievable. So a few words about every of each phase. The foundation phase set up the essentials. We assign roles, develop core CRA policies, and began closing the most critical gaps. And also we define the product support period and create the structure for the technical documentation. This phase builds the organizational backbone needed for compliance. Phase 2 is where CRA becomes part of the daily workflow. Here we embedded secure development practices, implement vulnerability handling, and automated software bills of material creation. We introduce consistent security testing and strengthened monitoring and update processes. This phase turns theory into operational reality. And the third phase answers the golden CRA questions. Can you prove it? This phase is where you gather every document, every test, every update works, every risk assessment into a complete technical file. This phase ends with preparing the CE marking packages and finalizing incident reporting workflows. This is a few key roles that needed. Sorry. So the CRA implementation is team efforts. As a sports enthusiast, I would say it's team sports. So it's example roles: product security lead, compliance manager, engineering lead, incident response and or vulnerability manager, and also documentation manager. These key roles ensures that responsibilities are clear, and so I think clear ownership is critical, and without it, task gets delayed. So this is example. Here is how a typical CRA roles looks over 12 months period. The first 3 months focused on policies and structures. Months 3 to 6 on integration and automation, and the remaining months on documentation and CE readiness. Unlike many other frameworks, the CRA does not contain optional or recommended controls. All core elements like SDL, software bills of material, vulnerability handling, secure updates, reporting, and technical documentation, they are mandatory. And organizations have flexibility in how to meet these requirements, but not in whether they must meet them. Right? And here is example with the IoT in the first part that identified. Now it's translate that knowledge into a structure an achievable roadmap. It's an example, of course. This roadmap shows the 3 phases and the core activities with each. Using a visual roadmap like this helps teams understand the bigger picture and maintain alignment throughout the project. So finally, to build an effective CRA roadmap, start with a realistic assessment on where you are today. Then build a strong foundation of policies and rules. Integrate the process into your everyday work. And of course, collect evidence continuously. And so I can add that CRA compliance is achievable if you start early. And this was a very short presentation, but I think it's useful. And thank you again for your attention.
𝗧𝗿𝗶, there is a question which, if you would like, you can address. If not, of course, Samir can join. I just want to bring this window down. So basically, the question is related to whether you can use probably it's a follow-up question what I just said about using cybersecurity certification schemes adopted under the Cybersecurity Act, such as the EUCC or the Cloud Services schema. But the question is, can you use harmonized standards as a way to demonstrate conformity in the context of certification? I know the answer, and the answer is yes, but if you'd like to elaborate on this, it would be appreciated.
So, 𝗧𝗿, thank you for your explanation of how to create CRA compliance roadmap. Now we will explore the Cyber Resilience Act and understand how conformity assessment works in practice. The CRA creates a new benchmark for cybersecurity in digital products across the European Union. It introduces rules that manufacturers must follow to make sure their products are secure before they enter the European market. This last presentation explains the 2 essential paths to demonstrate compliance: certification by an independent body and self-assessment by the manufacturer. Understanding these processes is important because they help build trust, transparency, and security. Throughout the last 15 minutes, I think, we will look closely how organizations can follow these paths and what each of them requires. Conformity assessment is the process of verifying that a product meets specific legal and technical requirements. Under the CRA, this means the manufacturer must prove that the product follows the essential cybersecurity rules in the regulation. The slides show conformity assessment as a bridge between legislation on one side and the technical reality on the product on the other. Without this bridge, laws would stay only in documents, and products could be released without proper security controls. Conformity assessment may include testing, auditing, inspections, or certification. These activities help regulators and users trust that the product they are built or using is safe. In this way, conformity assessment plays a central role in connecting cybersecurity policy and real digital products in the market. The CRA approach is built on an existing European Union framework that has been used successfully for many years. Europe already has strong system for product safety and quality, covering areas such as machinery, medical devices, and radio equipment. These systems have helped regulate the UA market for more than a decade. The CRA uses the same structure called the new legislative framework. This framework creates a consistent and reliable system for accreditation, for compliance checks, and for surveillance by national authorities. The slides show how the CRA builds on earlier directives and on regulation 765, which sets the rules for accreditation and market surveillance across the UA. Because of this foundation, companies will find familiar processes, even though the focus here is cybersecurity. The CRA defines two different paths to show that a product complies with the law. The path manufacturer chooses depends on the cybersecurity risk of the product. The first path is a third-party evaluation. In this case, an independent notified body examine the product. This option is required for high risk or critical products because it gives a higher level of assurance. The second path is self-assessment, where the manufacturer checks its own products, prepares the risk analysis, and declares that the product meets the CRA's requirements. Self-assessment is allowed only for products with lower level of cybersecurity risk and only when harmonized European standards exist to support the assessment. These two paths allow the Cyber Resilience Act to address a wide variety of products, from simple devices to complex critical systems. Notified body is an independent and accredited organization that has been authorized by an EU member states to conduct conformity assessment for specific products categories. It is also registered with the European Commission in the official NANDU database. Notified body operate under strict international standards such as ISO IC 17065 for certification bodies and ISO IC 17025 for testing laboratories. They must demonstrate technical competence and independence. Their role is to act as neutral experts in cybersecurity assurance, providing objective evaluation of digital products. Now, these systems help ensure that high-risk products entering in the European market have been tested by professionals who follow the same rules and levels of quality across all EU countries. The role of a notified body includes several important tasks. It performs independent evaluation of a product's cybersecurity and checks whether it meets the essential requirements of the CRA. The notified body reviews technical files, test results, and other documentation prepared by the manufacturer. In some cases, It conducts its own testing, inspection, or audits when necessary. If the product meets the requirements, the notified body issues an EU certificate of conformity. In addition to evaluation and certification, the notified body also supports market surveillance. This means that it may participate in monitoring activities to ensure that certified products continue to meet the rules even after they are released to the market. This ongoing responsibility strengthens the reliability of the CRA framework. This slide shows the certification process in 5 steps. First, the manufacturer submits a complete technical file and any supporting documentation to the notified body. Second, the notified body conducts evaluation and testing, reviewing all documents and performing tests as needed. Third, if all requirements are satisfied, the notified body issues a certificate of conformity. Fourth, once the certificate has been received, the manufacturer can place the CE marking on the product. This marking shows that the product meets European rules. Finally, manufacturers must maintain compliance over time because certification is not a one-time action. The product remains subject to surveillance by the notified body and by national markets authorities. This process ensures ongoing trust and accountability. The second part is self-assessment, where the manufacturer performs its own conformity assessment without involving an external evaluator. In this pathway, the company prepares all technical documentation, conducts the risk analysis, and declares under its sole legal responsibility that the product complies with the CRA. Self-assessment depends heavily on strong internal process and good discipline. It can be faster and more flexible than third-party certification, which makes it attractive for compliance that produce products with simpler risk profile. In the end of the process, the manufacturer issues the EU Declaration of Conformity, which allows the product to enter the European market. Self-assessment is only permitted under specific conditions. A manufacturer may choose this path only when the cybersecurity risk of the product is low or moderate. Self-assessment is not allowed if the product performs critical functions or handles sensitive data. The manufacturer must also follow harmonized European standards that are published in the official journal of the UA. If these standards do not exist, or if the risk level is too high, the manufacturer must choose third-party certification by a national notified body. These conditions ensure that self-assessment is used only where it's appropriate and safe. In this way, I present a comparison of the two compliance paths. Third-party certification shares responsibility between the manufacturer and the notified body, and it provides independent verification that offers a high level of assurance. It's usually slower and more expensive, but it's the most trusted option for high-risk products. Self-assessment places all responsibility on the manufacturer. There is no external validation of the results. It is faster and cheaper, but trust from the market depends on the quality of the manufacturer's own processes and documentation. Because of this, each path is ideal for different types of products, depending on their risk level and complexity. Even with these limitations, self-assessment has strong advantages for many companies. It can greatly reduce time to market because manufacturers do not need to wait for external evaluation or audits. It also lowers costs, which is important for small and medium-sized enterprises. Another benefit is flexibility. With self-assessment, companies can manage product updates, new version, and rapid development cycle more efficiently. These advantages make self-assessment a practical choice for products with lower cybersecurity risk and for organizations that have strong internal quality processes. Of course, self-assessment also has serious responsibilities. The manufacturer is fully accountable for the product's compliance. If something goes wrong, there is no external body to share the responsibility. Internal teams may miss vulnerabilities that an independent expert would have caught. If the technical documentation is weak or incomplete, market authorities or customers may question the reliability of the assessment. This risk means that self-assessment requires strong internal controls, a skilled personnel, and careful documentation. It is not simply an easier or liar option. It demands maturity and professionalism from the manufacturer. The slide explains that the two paths of conformity assessment are not in competition. Instead, they work together as part of a complementary system. Third-party evaluation provides high assurance for complex or critical products where the consequences of failure are severe. Self-assessment supports efficiency and alignment for the large number of simple, low-risk products. The CRA is flexible and scalable because it adapts the level of assurance to the product's specific risk. This balance makes the system efficient while still protecting users and markets. Both pathways help achieve the main goals of the CRA. They increase transparency because manufacturer must prepare detailed technical documentation and make cybersecurity practice visible. They build confidence because the CE marking and compliance process give user and businesses trust in digital products. They also enable mutual recognition across the entire EU single market, meaning a product assessed in one country can be sold in all member states without additional checks. This goal supports a more secure and more integrated digital economy. The final slide shows how the CRA fits into the wider European cybersecurity ecosystem. The CRA does not exist alone. It connects with other important certification schemes such as UCC for ICT products and EU EU CS for cloud services. Together, these initiatives create a unified system that ensures cybersecurity requirements are applied consistently across Europe. This ecosystem strengthens digital trust and supports both simple consumer devices and complex cloud environments. By linking these different schemes, Europe makes a coordinated approach to cybersecurity and builds a comprehensive framework for the future. Before we finish, I would like to invite you to continue your learning journey with us as part of the 𝗧𝗏𝗏 project. We will have 4 more training sessions in the coming months. The session will take place every second Monday on the month. Each one will focus on practical topics that connect directly to what we discussed today. The coming training will also build on the materials, tools, and examples that our colleagues in the 𝗧𝗏𝗏 project have developed. This means you will have the chance to see real practical cases, learn step-by-step methods, and understand how the CRA and related standards can be applied inside an organization. We hope you will join us for the next sessions, continue the discussion, and explore how the ideas from today can be used in your daily work. Thank you very much for your participation, and we look forward to seeing you again in the next 𝗧𝗏𝗏 training.
Thank you very much, Miro. A great way to end this training session with a reminder to meet everyone again in January after the Christmas and New Year holidays. There is nothing else for me to add. I responded to any open questions in the chat and just submitted in the webinar main chat a request for everyone to fill in a feedback form in order to tailor further and increase the efficiency of the content that we deliver and we will continue to deliver next year. So the feedback and its submission will be quite useful to us. I now already have some ideas for the workshops. Maybe we will have a session that will guide us through the already available drafts. Maybe we'll get into the role of a manufacturer of networking equipment, another manufacturer of equipment that requires self-assessment, one that requires to pass through conformity assessment, because conformity assessment body, because CAPS for short, can also leverage our platform as part of their process. Not only SMEs in order to check their self-conformity, but also CAPS to integrate our tools as part of their business. And these ideas originated out of today's session. So let's see what the future holds for us. I wish everyone happy holidays. And again, I'm grateful for the fact that Miro and 𝗧𝗏𝗏𝗏 will be with us next year. Looking forward to the workshops. Very soon we will have the registration for the first one open on 𝗧𝗏𝗏𝗏.eu. Until then, good luck with your products and ensuring their security.
Thank you, Chris. See you again.
Thank you, Christian, Miro, and have a happy students' holiday today.
In Bulgaria, indeed.
You too.
Bye.
You too.